Coming up on KUJH News, how Irish traditions are being kept alive, an exclusive behind-the-scenes look into ESPN, a life-changing opportunity offered to KU students.
If you're open to it, if you give it the chance, it could absolutely be life-changing.
Live from the studio in Stauffer Flint, this is KUJH News.
Good morning and welcome to KUJH News. I'm Charlotte James.
And I'm Elena Hesterly.
A few weeks ago, KUJH's Taylor Doyle reported on the damages to Wesco stairs. Nothing much has happened until now.
Let's go to Taylor, who is live outside of Wesco Hall. Taylor, what do we know so far?
Thanks, Melina and Charlotte. Yes, I'm standing outside Wesco, where the stairs have been blocked off for the entire semester so far. On Tuesday, United Academics of the University of Kansas Instagram account highlighted why these dangerous conditions and why KU should care.
Some of the KU faculty called out the administration for not maintaining campus buildings via Instagram. UAKU's negotiating team introduced proposals to ensure safe, clean, well-maintained campus conditions for everyone.
Working conditions entail the physical spaces in which we labor. When I come to work, we don't want to see taped off stairways that need to be fully renovated because of deferred maintenance for years, if not decades. We want safe, inviting spaces for faculty and our students to come and learn and teach.
UAKU will have a bargaining session this Friday at 9 a.m. at Watson Library, room 455.
In addition to these crumbly stairs, the union is bringing attention to poor working conditions, including cockroach and rat infestations in buildings around campus. We will provide more updates as the story develops. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Taylor. You can check out KUJH.com for further updates. Have you heard that the fall 2025 semester is going to start a week earlier than it was originally planned? KUJH's Ashley Updike tells us more about this change and how it will affect students.
The first day of the University of Kansas fall 2025 semester was originally August 25th, but it was recently announced the start date would be moved up to August 18th. The change might be good for some students, but for students who move back early for different campus organizations, a lease that begins in mid-August isn't going to work.
The biggest issue is just going to be with people being able to move back into their apartments and move back into all their housing. For all the girls that are living in the chapter facility, it's fine, but the biggest issue that I'm encountering is with that. And so, to have to tell about 270 girls, hey, you got to be back in Lawrence by August 1st, it's not exactly the most fun thing to do.
While some landlords may allow students anytime after August 1st to move in, there are some who set move-in dates as late as August 15th.
I mean, it's been a huge stressor, especially when it comes to finding apartments. And I haven't signed with anyone, but the more I try and talk, right, I ask them, hey, I need to be in by this day. And they say, well, we can't really do that. That's not going to work for us. And I say, well, can you make an exception? And they say, nope, this is just how it works.
While students are struggling with this earlier start date, the university says the change will support 3 goals: to better align 15-day intersession instructional periods, allow more time for faculty to report grades before recessing for winter break, and allow for a full 2 weeks of classes before the Labor Day holiday. Another huge factor in this decision was the KU football schedule. The first home game is scheduled on August 23rd, meaning if KU kept the original fall start date as August 25th, the first football game of the school year would be before classes even started and would interfere with move-in. One positive aspect of this early start date for students is that finals week will run from December 8th through 12th, allowing students more time at home with family before the holidays. For KUJH News, Ashley Updike.
Thanks, Ashley. I'm looking forward to at least be able to be home for the holidays earlier, even if it makes my summer a tad shorter.
Decisions about campus-wide hiring freeze and size of incoming freshman classes will be in the agenda for KU leaders, including Chancellor Doug Girard in the coming weeks. According to the Lawrence Journal-World, these decisions come up on the heels of rapid change on the federal level. No staff members have been laid off due to these policy changes. However, if these changes to federally funded programs are approved, the Lawrence Journal-World reports it's possible we might start to see layoffs happening here at KU.
An iconic 132-year-old panorama exhibit at the Natural History Museum will be restored, according to KU News. Kay received a $2 million donation to restore the panorama. The exhibit has a nearly 360-degree view and is quite eye-catching for many students on school trips to the museum. The exhibit was created in 1893 for the World's Fair in Chicago.
What a cool way to bring awareness, natural ecosystems, and conservation. I didn't even know about that exhibit.
Me neither, but one thing I do know is that I have been enjoying this weather outside, and today seems to be another beautiful day.
Sam is here to tell us more about this week's weather. Sam, will we be seeing more of these warm spring days?
Well, the good news is, Milena, these nice conditions will stick with us today through tomorrow morning, but tomorrow afternoon is when things will begin to change, and I'll break those details down for you in just a few minutes. Here on campus right now, we are sitting at 64 degrees, dew point at 47, humidity at 52%. Wind is light out of the east at 5 miles an hour, and the pressure is at 1,007 millibars and remaining constant right now. Looking at our temperature trend for the next 7 days, today we'll have a high temperature around 76, similar tomorrow. Then the system coming through tomorrow night will drop our temperatures down for the weekend into the 50s. We'll climb right back up again into the 70s to start next week, and then drop yet again as we get towards Wednesday of spring break. Coming up in a little bit, I'll talk about the rain and strong wind chances we have tomorrow, the severe weather that'll impact portions of the U.S. tomorrow and Saturday, and I'll break down some KU sports forecasts for you later on in the show. Take a look at our almanac. We'll be right back.
You may not hear it at first, but it's there. Our chant, rising. On this summit, callings converge, voices unify into a chorus that sounds out for good, for greatness. Can you hear it?
Welcome back. 10 years ago, the Lawrence Police Department added new officers to help keep you safe. But these ones have pause. KUJH reporter Sydney Clark shows us how this patrol service is impacting the community.
Heroes are seen in many different forms, and for the Lawrence Police Department, some are seen with pause. Since the K-9s joined the LPD, they have seized over 1,000 pounds of substances.
The amount of drugs that have been seized is significant.
And that's all due to past and current K-9 dogs, Mac, Shadow, and Taz. Corporal Henderson was one of the first officers on the patrol service and has helped train over 100 dogs.
When you take a dog that doesn't know anything and you see it start grasping what you're asking it to learn, it's just like a little kid learning different things. It's pretty amazing to see a dog that knows nothing and you teach it everything it knows, and that's pretty satisfying to know you did that.
But the dog's training never ends. It's a forever process to keep their skills sharp.
They all do the same thing. They're all patrol, so they're tracking and apprehension and building searching, and then also evidence.
But one of their biggest impacts being just their presence.
So just that presence of the dog, the barking of the dog, the use of force just goes down. It saves officer injury, saves injury to suspects potentially. So just the having the presence there is huge.
And not only do they help keep the city of Lawrence safe, but add an extra sense of protection to their handlers. For KUJH News, I'm Sydney Clark.
And when the K-9 shift is up at the end of the day, they go home with their handlers where they live full-time. Milena, do you think those K-9s are getting paid?
Maybe in treats and pets. Now we have Sam back in the studio. And Sam, I have a question. Will this beautiful weather last, or is there a chance we'll get some more storms? Sam?
Well, he raised a very good point, Milena, and I'm going to start this segment by talking about tomorrow. Switch it up a bit because tomorrow things are going to change. So there is a chance of showers and maybe an isolated storm tomorrow starting at around 4 p.m. But the biggest factor for us are going to be those strong winds. It can be sustained up to 30 miles an hour, and gusts over 60 miles an hour are possible tomorrow afternoon through evening. and this has prompted the issuance of a high wind watch from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. tomorrow, along with a fire weather watch throughout that same time period for us for our Friday afternoon morning. So I'm going to put in motion what the radar may look like for us through tomorrow afternoon. So around 4 p.m. could see some light showers start to pop off around here in Lawrence, but the stronger storms will initiate on the Missouri side of the state line and move further east as tomorrow evening goes on. Now those storms could produce some very strong wind gusts, specifically in eastern Missouri and western Illinois, right around the St. Louis area. So if you're going to be traveling through any of the enhanced or moderate risk areas of 3 or 4 tomorrow afternoon and evening, definitely have multiple ways to receive weather alerts because there could be some strong storms that are going to be going through. And then Saturday, that risk moves further down south into Alabama and Mississippi, or what we like to call Dixie Alley. This looks like it could be a rather potent setup for those areas that has a potential to produce numerous strong long-track tornadoes. To see how this progresses, but definitely pay attention if you're going to be down in that area or have friends or family that live down in the southeast portions of the United States. Now moving back here locally, again here in Lawrence, just going to get strong winds tomorrow, that's all. Not that severe weather that they're expecting in other regions. Taking a look at satellites, there are a couple, it's hard to see, but high-level clouds in western Kansas moving over towards our area. These may move overhead around 10 p.m. tomorrow night, but just be light wispy, nothing that'll impact anything. Going hour by hour today, at 2 p.m. be around 76 degrees, 4 p.m. 79, 6 78, and 8 72, with the potential for a few clouds moving in. And about 6 p.m. may have a couple wind gusts around 20 miles an hour. For tonight, have a low around 58 degrees, with those winds starting to pick up around 25 mile an hour wind gusts overnight tonight. And then heading into the weekend, again tomorrow is that potential for showers in the evening with those strong wind gusts. That will drop our temperatures down notably for Saturday down to a high of 54 degrees, with some of the wind gusts still sticking around maybe up to 30 miles an hour. Then Sunday, high of 58, clouds move out, back to sunny conditions. Looking at our 7-day forecast, again 79 for a high today, 76 tomorrow, with that cool down for the weekend, then warming back up nicely for St. Patrick's Day. Could be a couple of wind gusts for any St. Patrick's Day parades going on Monday. And then there is a small chance of showers on Wednesday. Still a ways out, things will change, but Wednesday morning could be a little bit wet. Back to you.
Thank you, Sam. Looks like everyone who's going home for spring break will have some nice weather to travel in. With St. Patrick's Day around the corner, we take a look at the tradition of Irish dancing and how it's evolved over centuries. In Shawnee, one dance school is keeping the tradition alive while welcoming in the next generation of Irish dancers. Lily Schutzenhofer takes us into the world of the Driscoll Irish dancers.
Bridget Driscoll founded Driscoll Irish Dancers in 2010 in the basement of Union Station, Kansas City. Now, in Shawnee, she has over 80 students, ranging from ages 3 to 60 in this studio.
I started in 2010, and I had just graduated from college, and then it kind of is history, I guess, from there. Like, I decided to start in June of that year. I only had a couple students, and I had a 5-year plan that said I would quit my full-time job, and in 3 years I was done with my full-time job.
Inside the studio, Driscoll is lucky to have a teacher like Erin Lewis, who, while being certified to teach Irish dance, is also a certified personal trainer.
I teach our champ level classes. That's the only level that I work with. I take a more in-depth approach, I think, because in addition to having my TCRG, I am also a certified personal trainer, which I got to work with my dancers specifically. I've done some continuing education on working with kids, working with dancers, that kind of stuff.
Outside the studio, Driscoll performs year-round. St. Patrick's Day is not just a season, it becomes a lifestyle, especially when it comes to engaging the community.
Yeah, so we actually do performances year-round. We do a lot of work in nursing homes, which I've always loved, even growing up as a kid. We also do a lot of like school performances, maybe like if they're having cultural days or cultural festivals, world festivals, whatever, the school will come in and do that. And then we just have other random stuff that people will book us for.
While competing and performing is a great experience, Bridget hopes that students take more than just a knowledge of Irish dance away from their time at Driscoll, including this advice.
That you can do hard things You know, it sounds kind of cheesy, but you know, there's stuff that we do, and the dancing is great. And I would love for everybody to be, you know, on the podiums, but the fact that you get to do something and finish it, and sometimes it feels hard when you start out, but then you've mastered it, and that sense of accomplishment that I think carries on to other parts of our lives.
During the busy season, expect to see the Driscoll Irish dancers all around the Kansas City area.
This upcoming week, we'll do the Shawnee Parade and the Kansas City Parade and some other events that are associated with that. We'll be out at the Topeka Irish Festival, and then a bunch more senior living.
For KUJH News, Lily Schutzenhofer.
For more information on how to see the Driscoll Irish Dancers this weekend and St. Patrick's Day, visit driscolldancers.com.
Esports continue to grow nationwide, and this past weekend, players from across the world gathered here in Lawrence for Sweet Spot 9. KUJH's Annabelle DeFord breaks down what this tournament means for the Kansas esports community and what the future holds.
In its 9th year, Sweet Spot continues to dominate the esports scene as the largest tournament in Kansas. It's become a core tournament for locals and has attracted players worldwide to fight for fame.
Sweet Spot 9 is an annual Smash Brothers and FGC tournament that we host here in Lawrence, Kansas, on the KU campus. It is currently the largest Smash Brothers tournament in the state of Kansas, usually polling between 250 to 300 attendees every year.
Like previous years, Sweet Spot 9 wasn't just about the competition, it was about the community.
I really enjoyed kind of the community aspect, where people from all over are coming to help us run this big tournament for KU at KU. It's really cool.
The atmosphere inside the venue was electric as players battled it out for the top spot while the roaring crowd cheered them on.
In the finals, it was a hometown player named Floopy. He's this is the first time a Kansas City player has been in the finals of Sweet Spot in a long time. So it was really fun to give him energy so he could win that.
With another successful Sweet Spot in the books, the esports scene is already looking forward to Sweet Spot 10.
I don't see it going anywhere. Sweet Spot 10 is next year in 2026, so I'm looking forward to it.
With the community growing and passionate players on the rise, Sweet Spot is claiming its spot as a major esports event for the Midwest. For KUJH News, Annabelle DeFord.
Thanks, Annabelle. We love to see another Kansas team thriving. We'll keep an eye out for Sweet Spots returning next spring.
After the break, hear how Kansas basketball is doing in the Big 12 tournament. Lindsay joins us live from Rock Chalk Park to talk all things softball and more.
From adversity, we rose. We made history and became pioneers, voyagers, champions, Jayhawks. And when our chant rises, haunting and hallowed, Jayhawks are telling the world what's near. Victory.
Today on KUJH Sports, we've got the latest updates on KU basketball, a behind-the-scenes look at an ESPN Plus game day production for KU baseball, and a live look from Rock Chalk Park with an update on KU softball. I'm Lauren Ritchie. The Big 12 Men's Basketball Championship is currently going on just down the road in Kansas City. Number 6 Kansas survived an overtime thriller last night during the second-round game against 14 seed UCF. After a final score of 98-94, Kansas punched their way into the quarterfinal game. But how exactly did those 45 minutes play out? Kansas got off to an early 8-0 start, all 8 of which came from senior guard Zeke Mayo, who went on to finish with 24 points. The team went into halftime on top 40-37. Kansas's largest lead came in the second half at 13, but the Knights fought their way back, forcing overtime, but ultimately it wasn't enough to get the job done. Some bench productivity for the Hawks, though, as A.J. Storr ended the night with a Kansas career high of 19 points, going 3 for 5 from behind the arc, helping lead Kansas to its victory. Kansas will play Arizona tonight, who they just played in their last regular season game on Saturday night, ending in a Kansas win. Can they do it again? We'll see later tonight, but in the meantime, make sure you're following our socials at KUJH News because I will have you covered with live game updates tonight. Speaking of Arizona and winning, join me inside Allen Fieldhouse to experience last weekend's senior night with a front row seat.
Kansas was able to secure its 42nd straight senior night win last Saturday after defeating Arizona 83-76. 90% of the team's scoring came out of KU's 4 senior starters, Hunter Dickinson, Zeke Mayo, DeJuan Harris, and KJ Adams. Coach Self was pleased with those guys and the team's performance.
Yeah, they played great. They played great. That was about as well as I can remember seniors playing on senior night.
Lawrence native Zeke Mayo celebrated the night by scoring his 2,000th career point.
It was a lot of hard work going into that. You know, I'm blessed to have that opportunity, blessed to fulfill, a dream like that. A kid can only score so many points.
Mayo went on to finish with 20 points, going 5 for 6 from behind the arc. And Hunter Dickinson matched his career high with 33 points and grabbed 10 rebounds, tallying his 14th double-double of the year, making it a game to remember.
Yeah, it's super special to, Coach said yesterday or today, you'll always, remember your last game. You might not remember certain games, but you always remember your last game. So
this game meant a little more for the 7 players celebrating their final game inside Allen Fieldhouse. From tears to laughter and every emotion in between. The players were feeling all the love because for everyone's first, it's someone else's last. For KUJH Sports, I'm Lauren Ritchie.
Thank you to the 7 seniors who have left a lasting impact in our community. With baseball season in full swing, more and more fans are flocking to Hoagland Ballpark. But for those watching from home, the ESPN Plus production crew is able to bring the show to life. KUJH's Grace Johnson went behind the scenes to give viewers a look at how ESPN Plus broadcasts a Kansas baseball game. Take a look.
When you go to a KU baseball game as a fan or watch it on screen, everything looks seamless. But behind the scenes, it takes a team working in perfect sync to bring the game to life. For ESPN's coverage of KU baseball, that team operates from inside a production truck known as Marvin. Once the game begins, Marvin comes to life, and Curtis calls the shots. While Curtis directs the cameras, there's another crucial role behind the scenes, keeping the on-screen graphics up to date. That responsibility falls to graphics operator Kayla Manning. Just like every graphic adds to the production, every position inside Marvin plays a crucial role in making sure the broadcast runs smoothly. But it's not just the technical side that matters. The atmosphere inside the truck can make all the difference.
Thank you, Grace, for that perspective we don't always get to see when we're tuning into the games. Something else you don't always see is 5 home runs in a row. Well, Kansas baseball did just that in yesterday's game against Minnesota, tying the NCAA record with 5 in a row. The Hawks went on to win 29-1. Yes, you heard that right, 29 total runs for Kansas. Now staying on the mound, Kansas softball has been on the road for the past 5 weeks, but has returned to Lawrence for their home opener that was played yesterday, followed by a doubleheader this afternoon. Lindsay Ryan joins us live from Rock Chalk Park. Lindsay, how's it going, and what can you tell us about this team during its first month of play?
Yeah, Lauren, after a long 5 weeks, it's exciting to see the Jayhawks back at home. They currently sit at 12-9 overall and 2-1 in conference. Last night, they fell short to Wichita State 7-3, but will look to get back into the win column today. They will play Omaha in a doubleheader due to some earlier weather delays. Now, for the Jayhawks, a huge contributor has been Ainsley Lindove. She currently sits at 67 at-bats on the season and 15 runs. Now, not too far behind is Presley Limbo with 12 runs and 64 at-bats.
Now, for those who aren't familiar with the place you're at, where exactly can people catch this team in action?
Yeah, the first pitch is set for 4 p.m. today here at Arocha Ballpark. Now, students get in for free, and the first 250 to show up will receive a free Kansas coaster. If you can't make it to the games, they will be broadcasted on ESPN+. But it's a perfect day for some Kansas softball, so be sure to come and pack the park. Lauren, back to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Good luck to softball and welcome back home. Coming up, we hear from KU students on their spring break plans and how St. Patrick's Day is impacting a specific dance studio in Lawrence.
Welcome back. Sam joins us one last time to give us a look at how the weather will hold up for this weekend's games.
Thank you, Charlotte. Now, if you're heading out to the T-Mobile Center tonight for the quarterfinal of the Big 12 tournament game between KU and Arizona, be perfect weather conditions, 79 pregame, 78 during tip-off, 68 after the final buzzer. Perfect to go out to the Power and Light District either before or after the game, spend some time over there. Now, KU baseball, that's a different story though. I definitely think that their game tomorrow is going to be impacted, probably postponed, I'd have to say, because I do not think they can play baseball in 31-mile-an-hour wind, 48-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and maybe a rain shower, so I'd expect that one to be impacted for sure. Saturday and Sunday, though, looks a lot nicer. There'll be some strong gusts sticking around Saturday, but should be playable conditions at least. Then Sunday, yeah, looks perfect. 50-degree high, mostly sunny conditions. Taking a look at some other sports going on for KU. Softball versus Omaha looks good later today. So does women's tennis at Houston tomorrow. Track and field looks good out in Virginia Beach. There's probably going to be some rain, though, for women's tennis at Orlando on Sunday. Then both men's golf and baseball looks good for their events to start next week. Now, if you are a night owl, you are in luck tonight. There will be a total lunar eclipse. The partial eclipse will start just past midnight at 12:09 a.m. The total will start at 1:26 and last until 2:31. Good news is it won't be too bad outside. 62 degrees at that time and should be clear skies for the most part. Should be able to see the eclipse in its entirety. Charlotte?
Thanks, Sam. I'll be sure to go get some fresh air as we head off to spring break despite the wind. While many KU students may be spending the next week relaxing, some are choosing to give back through KU Alternative Breaks. KUJH's Annabelle DeFord spoke with members of the program about how it helps students and the communities they serve.
You never know what experience could change your life. For some, KU Alternative Breaks has been just that.
Alternative Breaks, if you're open to it, if you give it the chance, it could absolutely be life-changing.
If you're someone interested in travel and giving back to the community, KU Alternative Breaks does both, allowing members to spend their academic breaks volunteering with different organizations across the country.
So kind of the one side is kind of cheap travel, because a lot of people, especially freshmen, might not have had the opportunity to travel before. And then the most important part being like the volunteering. You usually spend about 30 to 35 hours volunteering.
For many like Kenny, these trips go beyond service. They create lasting memories and give volunteers a chance to witness change firsthand. Kenny traveled to Edmond, Oklahoma this winter and helped out with the Hope Center of Edmond, the central service agency for the community.
Or like answer their questions and like see families leave with more things, and that was definitely really nice. I like getting to interact with that community specifically.
Those involved hope that people come to understand just how rewarding these outings can be for everyone involved.
It's a mutually beneficial relationship of you are helping this volunteer, like this community group or this community in need, but you are also gaining a lot out of it as well.
This spring break, members are working in South Dakota, Arkansas, Colorado, and across Lawrence. Check out KUAB.org for an opportunity that might just change your life. For KUJH News, Annabelle DeFord.
Sounds like a good way to stay busy during school breaks. You can follow their activity on Instagram at KU Alternative Breaks.
Speaking of spring break, this Thursday was the 5th anniversary of the declaration of the COVID-19 global pandemic.
Yeah, Milena, I remember it was freshman year of high school, and I was supposed to go visit my dad in Washington, D.C., but when COVID closed everything, my family packed up and we went to Lake of the Ozarks instead.
That's wild. Well, it was a very scary time, I gotta say, but I'm glad we've been able to learn and grow since then. All COVID restrictions have been lifted, and a lot of people have returned to their normal lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, KUJH's Coop Hannon explores how students are spending their time this year.
What's going on? Coop Hannon out here at Wesco Beach, where it feels like I'm actually at the beach. Polo and shorts, I'm ready to hit the links. Now, spring break is next week, and it had me wondering, are students actually leaving this beautiful weather to maybe see their friends, families, or even take a trip? Let's find out.
Going back to Overland Park, probably like 40% of the people here. Gonna go to Hot Pot. Gonna make my friends go to Hot Pot. We're gonna watch all the Twilight movies, just a chill vibe.
I might go drive to KC every once in a while if I have some time, but I'll probably just be hanging out.
I will be working and heading home for the weekdays.
While many will be staying local, other students will be making, well, quite a trip.
I'm going to my cabin at the Ozarks, and a bunch of my friends are going to come up with me. We're going to Chicago. First time.
I'm going to go visit my brother. He goes to Duke.
I'm going down to El Paso, Texas to see some family and friends.
I'm going to go home and spend time with my parents and my cat and my dogs and just hang out with friends that are coming home.
Just go home this spring break and just chill. Have a good chill break.
Plans might have fallen through, or friends are coming through. Either way, a break is due.
I'm from Texas, and the plan was to go back home, but it's just too much, so I'll just stay here. Hopefully I find some of my friends that's staying here, and I'll just do some homework, hopefully find some work, and go from there.
I have some friends from Minnesota coming over here, actually today right now, and we're going to hang out for about a week for a spring break, yeah.
And no matter where you are, you can't forget about March Madness.
I'm just having a staycation, and I'm going to watch a lot of college basketball.
Man, really seems like everyone's going everywhere. Me, I'll be going back home to see my family and then to see my brother out in Austin, Texas. Coop Hannon here, KUJH News.
Thanks, Coop. I have to say I'm shocked that nobody's going to the beach. Like, it's the perfect time to soak in that summer sun. But that's all we have for you this morning. Check out KUJH on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram for exclusive content, and keep up to date on the latest stories at KUJHnews.com. I'm Milena Hesterly.
And I'm Charlotte James. KUJH will be back next Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Have a great day.